Mr. Grk, thank you for this interview. You are the General Secretary of the Bled Strategic Forum and a special representative of the Slovenian government for the Western Balkans. You were there when Charles Michel said that 2030 at Bled, that 2030 would be the year for the countries of the Western Balkans to enter the European Union. Do you think that this is realistic?
I think it's realistic, especially for some countries. Look, plainly and clearly and honestly speaking, I think not all the countries of the enlargement process are going to be ready by 2030. But my guess is that some of the countries could be, should be, and I would say must be ready, because more or less now with this strategic shift in thinking from the side of the European Union, I think the path towards the enlargement is more open than it was in the past. But there are two conditions, of course. It's always there are always conditions. First, it's the capacity of European Union to change internally in order to be able to absorb the new member states. And secondly, it's the reform processes in the countries of the Western Balkans. And here I would especially underline one area which I think is key, and there is no going around it, and this is rule of law reforms. I think without rule of law reforms, the countries of the region are not going to be able to move faster towards enlargement.
Mr. Grk, thank you for this interview. You are the General Secretary of the Bled Strategic Forum and a special representative of the Slovenian government for the Western Balkans. You were there when Charles Michel said that 2030 at Bled, that 2030 would be the year for the countries of the Western Balkans to enter the European Union. Do you think that this is realistic?
Firstly, in general, I think this is going to be quite an important European Council for enlargement. I suspect and I expect that there are going to be some positive messages to Ukraine, Moldova, and also Georgia, but also to the countries of the Western Balkans. Slovenian position, and we advocate it quite strongly, is that we need a balanced approach when it comes to enlargement to the east and to the southeast. So without this balanced approach, we think that European Union could make again some strategic mistakes, which in this time and age we can't afford. When it comes to North Macedonia, of course, you know how the things stand. The ball, I would say, is in the court of Skopje. When you reach a necessary consensus when it comes to constitutional changes, North Macedonia has an open path towards European Union. Now, when this is going to happen, of course, it's up to the political elites in the country. For us and for European Union, the sooner this happens, the better.
There have been several initiatives about changing the unanimity vote in the European Union. How do you view this, and is there a possibility of changing that unanimity decision making in the European Union?
Look, this is my understanding of situation, and I may be wrong, because in this time and age, the things in the international community, also in European Union and in the whole geostrategic global context, are happening so quickly that nobody can predict what will happen. I mean, if you see what happened in the last 2 years in Europe, Middle East, and so on, nobody predicted that. So what will happen, it's very hard to say, but strategically speaking, I think it would be necessary for European Union to change also this decision-making process for making it more effective. Because as you would see, we always came to an impasse when it came to enlargement, where one member state could block the whole enlargement process. And this is something that we can't afford to be a principle in the future. Shortly, yes, I think the discussion is going to take place. It's going to be very hard. It's going to be very difficult because, of course, it's not easy to give away a part of your sovereignty for the European Union to become more effective. But at the end of the day, I don't think we are going to have a choice.
Is there a possibility that by 2030 the countries of the Western Balkans could be ready to enter the European Union, but the European Union would not be ready to accept them? And how do you view the Franco-German proposal for reforms of the European Union?
If by 2030 all the Western Balkan countries, or the majority of them, are going to be ready to enter European Union, so I'm going to be very, very happy, because this is going to give me more, I would say, ammunition inside of the European Union to say, look, they did their job, they did their part, they reformed, they became countries who fulfill all the necessary criteria. Now it's up to us. And if we are going to come to that point, I think European Union will have to react. If we are not going to react, this is going to take us backward for the at least 10 or 20 years when it comes to the strategic thinking, but also strategic positioning of European Union in the global arena. So my take is, you be ready, and Slovenia and other countries are going to do whatever is possible that European Union is going to be ready. Is it going to happen? I don't know. But the reforms which you need to take, you're not doing because of only enlargement. You're doing it to become more successful countries. To the second question, this is, of course, one idea which stems from this paper, which was produced by the academics from France and Germany under the auspices of both governments. So it has some weight. It's important, but it's only a suggestion. It's only a first idea, which already, was received with mixed emotions. So I would say the final result of the discussions about the future of Europe and European Union is going to be probably a little bit different, but it's an idea. Countries of the Western Balkans would always look at what is happening in European Union and use this as an excuse not to do the reforms. Because, in the past it was European Union doesn't want us. We didn't take the strategic decision, which maybe was true, but this is not the excuse that you don't do the necessary reforms. And also, the whole changes, internal changes inside of the European Union, whatever they go, shouldn't be an excuse for the Western Balkan countries to not do the reforms, especially the ones who are already in the negotiation process and have clear path on what they need to do. When North Macedonia, just to conclude, when you are going to make constitutional changes, basically it's up to you how quickly, and up to your political elites, how quickly do you want to move towards European Union.